Hello and welcome to your upper body mobility workout. I'm Katie Hunt, your ACSM personal trainer, and all you need for this workout is a mat and either a band or a strap, something that you can hold on to. We're going to do each exercise for about a minute each at different tempos depending on the exercise. Our first exercise is going to be a squat with a backstroke. So we're going to begin on our feet in a squat stance with the lower body. Both arms are straight as you send your butt back and down. Arms reach down, and then as you rise and press up through the heels, one arm is going to take itself around as if you were pulling through water. Lead with the pinky and allow the torso to turn, following that hand that's going up, back, and around. We're alternating sides. So this exercise is great to get us started. It's going to get your blood flowing. It's going to open up the chest, open up the shoulders. So continue that alternating pattern a few more times here. And as we get started with this first exercise, make sure that you are breathing nice and deep, even as those arms go back and around. Try not to let the shoulders creep up by the ears. Excellent. All right, one done. Our next exercise is going to require a wall. So move towards the wall, place your hands on the wall. Palms can be flat. And notice my body is set at about a 90-degree angle, so you might have to adjust the height of your hands. I'm folding forward, allowing my chest to fall forward. My hands stay in the same place. Notice I've got a slight bend in my knees. My feet are about hip distance. You might be able to go deeper into this stretch, but here we're just breathing. Let your head fall forward. Let those shoulders open. Let there be an opportunity here to fill the lungs all the way around. Every edge of the lung gets filled each time you inhale. Continue to allow that chest to fall forward. Just let gravity do its thing here. Finding that opening at the end range of motion. Find at least one more deep breath. And then when you're ready to begin to rise, bend your knees a little bit deeper, or even place your hands on your thighs to support you as you come up. Our next exercise, grab your band or a long towel or a yoga strap or even a broomstick would work on this one. Anything that you can hold on to somewhat wide. The wider set your hands are, the easier this one is going to be. So you're going to start with that band in front of your hips. We want good posture on this. So feet lightly gripping the floor, slight bend in your knees, neutral pelvis. Then you're going to raise those arms up, let them come behind your head, back and down. So you can experiment on this one. Some of you will be able to do it with a more narrow grip than I will. Some of you will need a little bit wider to get those arms to go back and around. We're not forcing here. Just see if you can allow the arms to go as far as your body permits. Next up, we've got a plank dog with reach. We're going to build this one up gradually. So let's begin in our plank. I'd like you to set this up really strong. Fingertips spread wide or hands spread wide, feet about hip distance, shoulders over the wrists, slight bend in your elbows, and then begin to drive the hips up towards the ceiling. As that happens, let the heels fall towards the ground. And it's like your head just falls towards the ground as the hips rise. So you might notice some similar sensations to that last exercise we just did. We're using that mobility that we just found in our shoulders to our advantage on that down dog position. So you can either continue doing this plank to dog motion, or you can take it one more level, and as the hips rise, one hand comes off the ground. So if it's your right hand, you're going to reach across the body to the outside of the left leg, and then you're alternating sides. Well, this does not have to be fast. In fact, it's going to be a little bit harder if you slow it down. Keep all those components in place. Hips rise, heels fall. Try to balance your weight, and then reaching towards the outside of the opposite leg. You don't have to touch the leg. It doesn't have to be your calf. It's completely up to you. Maybe try a few more of those. And then we're going to allow the wrists a little bit of a break. We're going to sink back into a child's pose. So I widened my knees about as wide as the mat, and I'm just resting for a few breaths in child's pose. Now, I just mentioned your wrists, so let's work a little wrist mobility up next here. You could do this standing or seated. Bring your hands to a prayer position. Make sure there's lots of space between the bottoms of your ears and the tops of your shoulders. Pressing those palms together, just begin to rotate the fingers so that they point down towards the ground. You can make this more dynamic, moving the fingertips down and then back up, or if it feels good with the fingers down, pause there. Again, finding that end range of motion, allowing those wrists to open. All right, next one. This is kind of fun, but can take a moment. So begin with your arms extended, palms forward. And then as you roll those fingers towards your body, notice how my hands are sort of flipping so that the backs of my hands end up touching. It might just take you a few times experimenting with this one. Don't worry about getting it right, but great movement for both the wrists and the elbow joints and the shoulders. We're internally and externally rotating the shoulders, and we're getting some great wrist extension, wrist relief on this one. So just keep exploring. If you like the first wrist stretch better, you're welcome to go back to that one. Both will give some relief and allow you to find that wrist mobility. Nice deep breaths. Finish this off. All right, let's return to the floor to tabletop position. I couldn't do an upper body mobility workout without cat-cow now, could I? So let's find our tabletop, knees under the hips, wrists under the shoulders, slight bend in those elbows. And we're going to begin by just floating the middle of the spine up towards the ceiling. Allow your head and tailbone to drop towards the floor. Now, I would suggest for you today to just take this nice and slow. See if you can really articulate through the spine. Allow that tail to draw down as your spine rises towards the ceiling. And coordinate the breath with this one. That'll help it feel really good and even deeper warming through the core, through the muscles that support your spine. So we're inhaling as the belly falls and tailbone rises, gazing slightly forward, and then we're exhaling as that belly button draws up towards the spine, towards the ceiling. And again, we're relaxing through that head and neck. Continue to float through this. A few more times, and then let's come all the way down onto our belly. And arms are going to be at your sides, and we're going to work on strengthening. So all this movement that we've been doing is opening everything up, but let's also make sure we find that strength in our new range of motion. So I'm lifting the torso slightly. I'm really kind of driving those arms back, allowing my chest to open. And with each lift, so each time my head and chest begin to rise and arms rise, I'm trying to hold for about 5 seconds here. So you can work at your own pace. You might find at the beginning or first couple times doing this that just a couple seconds is all you need. But as you build that strength in your back, as you build that strength with that open shoulder position, you'll find you can hold a little bit longer. Excellent. Okay, let's return to all fours. We're going to thread the needle. So I'm going to turn my right palm up towards the ceiling, little opening there, and then I'm going to slide that right arm behind the left hand. See if I can find the floor with my right temple and my right shoulder. Pause here. Let's just breathe. Great release for the thoracic spine. Great opportunity here to find those expansive breaths. Opening up through that mid to upper back. Take one more deep breath here. And then let's press firm into that left hand. Come back up to center. Maybe rock a little bit side to side. And then reset your tabletop. Let's do the same thing, only this time the left arm threads through. Check in. Do you notice any difference from one side to the other? Maybe it's easier to breathe when you're turned one way or the other. It's great work for that entire spine. Let the breathing soothe you. And let's return to center. You're doing great. All right, we're going to come down, face down position again. Let's begin with your left arm extended to the side. Palm is down. I cut off my arm here a little on the video, but you'll see when I go the other way. And then, so one arm is extended out to the side and flat, and then you're going to bend the opposite arm, press into the ground, sort of pushing yourself onto your side. And then that leg that's on top, that foot can come back just to balance you. And then that top arm opens up. So I love this stretch in a slower fashion, kind of like we just did with thread the needle, where you're just holding on one side. But in this workout, we're going to make it a little more dynamic. You're rolling side to side. And that top arm floats back, not forcing, just feeling that sense of opening through the chest and through the fronts of the shoulders, side to side. Wonderful job. All right, we're going to transition to a little kneeling side stretch. So notice I put an example in that bottom left corner. You could also do this with crossed legs or straight legs. You could even do it standing if you'd like. All of them are good. So all we're doing is a little sweeping motion side to side. So whatever side you're leaning towards, you can place that hand down on the ground. Notice I'm bending the elbow so I can get a little deeper into that stretch. Try to stay lifted through that spine and keep the shoulders and chest nice and open as we go side to side. So the idea is to find that movement through to find that lateral movement, that side to side movement. Sometimes on this one, I imagine I'm like a flower floating in the breeze from side to side. All right, my friend, we are almost at the finish line. Let's return to our child's pose. This is going to be great to settle your spine after that lateral movement. And then I'm going to have you walk your hands over to the right side and stack your left palm on top of the right. You might take a little more time there, but I just, in the video, switched sides. So now I walked my hands over to the left side and I stacked my right hand on top of the left. And I'm just pausing there to breathe. This is a beautiful lat stretch. Great. If we stretch out our lats, great for your shoulder mobility. Excellent job, everyone. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you at the next workout.